You ever stumble upon a game in the late hours of the night that's so cool looking you could swear it's a dream, only to be pleasantly surprised the next day when you find out it's not only real but your new favorite thing? That's basically how I discovered Ultrakill. Ultrakill is a fast-paced, stylish, first-person shooter that I quickly fell in love with. Now, depending on how many online reviews you've seen, you might be bracing yourselves for the Nations of the World song of games to compare this to. But for the sake of originality, I came up with my own analogy for this. This game is like a chef, mixing together good flavors you've had before to create a unique standalone taste. It's like the time I had goldfish while drinking a protein shake and the taste somehow created a ramen taste. That doesn't sound like a compliment. It's like holding up the line in a Five Guys to mix all the Coke flavors together in the drink machine. God damn it, first time I try to make a script for this thing, it's a fucking nightmare. Ultrakill is one of the many games in my harem of New Blood titles I discovered at around the same time. It may only be in early access at the moment, and you may only be able to play a third of it so far, but it's given me a big enough dumbass grin while playing it for me to justify trying to make a video on it. So without further ado, let us get into why I enjoy this game so goddamn much. Starting with the story. Now that we have that detailed lore out of the way, let's go on to the gameplay. I'm just pulling your chain. I like this a lot actually. Just 3 sentences gives you a better idea of what's going on than some games take in multiple paragraphs. It's not some uber complex story and it doesn't need to be. The gameplay is enough to carry it on its own. The gameplay is genuinely phenomenal. It ticks literally every single box it should. Gunplay? Snappy. Movement? Speedy. Dopamine levels? Rising. Difficulty? Guy with a mask fetish in quarantine hard. Enemies will push you around like Kylo the high school bully, and when you're strong enough for him to not be a problem anymore, motherfucking Tinky will come out of left field and start the process all over again. The game's controls are rather simplistic. There's no special combos you have to memorize to get good at it. Simply put, it's just run and shoot. The hitboxes in this game are incredibly fair for both sides, so getting hit and hitting enemies both feel like you deserve it. Movement in this game is probably going to be one of the main driving forces of people playing it. With just a simple mix of jumps, slides, and dashes with a little bit of accuracy sprinkled on top, you can find yourself with a cocktail of fun as you fly around the map destroying everything in sight. The game also has a score system, straight out of Devil May Cry. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, it is basically the same thing as the scoring system in those games. It rewards you for aggressive, fast-paced attacks, and punishes you for clinging to your comfort weapon as you slowly pick them off one by one. The game wants you to be aggressive, even the healing mechanics show this. To heal, you gotta get up close and personal with an enemy, damaging it so you can siphon off its blood for health. It might be up there with one of my favorite ways of healing in a game. It's just so intuitive and it works so well. Now, as I've said before, this game will kick your ass. But getting actually good at the game doesn't really require that much time. Your first playthrough will obviously be you crawling through with a C ranking usually, picking out the enemy you hate the most to groan at when he spawns in. But if you were to play it again, you would notice that a lot of the parts you were stuck at aren't giving you as much trouble. And that's not because you're walking into the first level with sexy endgame armor by the end of it, because there's no upgrading system or loot. You see, as the game was making you eat more shit than a mukbang channel, it was slowly subconsciously hammering the tools you need to beat the game into your brain. The more you play, the more the game's direct and indirect lessons intertwine, creating an upward spiral to that sweet, sweet gold rank. Alright, I think I've schlicked myself long enough to the gameplay of this game. It's time we get to the other notable facets, like the level design. Levels in this game are deceptively simple. It's usually just corridors with just enough room in them to make sure you can fully experiment with the movement mechanics. This is by no means a bad thing, it actually puts you in a pretty decent rhythm. But there are 2 specific aspects that work as springboards to jettison the levels up from good to spectacular. The first should be obvious, the way the levels look. Much like the movie As Above So Below, this game also seems to focus on the 10 layers of hell. For some reason though, they conveniently left out one of the circles. France. But anyway, any points I would award this game, any score, add a 47 because they have finally done something that I have been waiting for so long. You see, also like the movie As Above So Below, this game takes a lot of creative liberties with its layers of hell instead of just fire and rocks with a couple themes to them. At first glance, you couldn't even really tell where you're supposed to be right now. I think that's why the level designs stick out to me so much, because you really can't tell where the hell you are at first, and then the more you play it, the more you realize how perfectly the themes actually fit in with the layer. For example, you have a lush garden with virtually everything fabricated, from the skybox to the noises you hear for Purgatory. A seedy Vegas-like strip that you'd see in the background of a Vaporwave video that you'd find the song it sampled from months later and realize how much better the original sounds for Lust. And a stomach that's about as big as the number of vor jokes that can be made out of it for Gluttony. These are all the circles that are in the game right now. I'm very excited to see how they'll handle the other ones. Currently, they're teasing Greed to have a badass Egyptian theme to it, so I'm looking forward to that one. But this isn't the best part about these levels. The absolute highlight so far of these worlds is their secret levels. Now, normally in a first-person shooter, a secret level would simply just be more guys to kill, but Ultrakill takes it a step further. So far, these secret levels range from just sliding behind a wall to thinking like you have Saint Elsewhere playing in your head to find them. This will be the only part in the video where I actually put a timestamp for you to skip to, because if you're actually planning on picking this game up, I do actually recommend going into these parts blind. If not, I'll just give a quick rundown of the secret levels for anyone on the fence or who just doesn't care about spoilers. The first secret level is probably the most profound, as you go from power tripping off killing acolytes to running for your life as you try to escape Helper from Venger Bros. The second level seems to take the you're not playing a first-person shooter anymore themes to the next level, as it's literally just a puzzle game. I had to say, it's quite a humbling experience going from learning editing techniques in mere minutes to failing to understand that the colored X's can actually be crossed by their other colored counterparts for about 10 minutes. Bottom line is, I enjoy these secret levels quite a lot, and I'm looking forward to the inevitable rhythm game one. The guns in this game so far are actually pretty well balanced. You can pretty much get by the entire game using only one gun if you really had to, but it's more fun to use them all in tandem with each other. Instead of upgrades, we have alt fires for the guns, and currently we have about 2 per gun. I'll do a shotgun round of each of the alt fires and kind of tell you what I think about each one of them. We'll start off with a nail gun. I was originally going to have a segment of the video dedicated to talking about how the nail gun feels either too inconsistent with either being useless or broken depending on circumstances, but turns out they're fixing that soon. So yeah, that's why there's no critiques portion of this video, because everything I complained about they've already announced patching out. Then we have the railgun, which gives big beefy hits for the cost of a recharge time. The main fire is pretty fun, but once the alt fires get into play, it becomes pretty much obsolete. It pretty much becomes a choice between using a portable nuke, or if blood was the currency in this universe, I guess you could say you could use this alt fire to turn them into a pay pig. The shotgun probably holds the king as the most versatile gun in the game, with like 8 different ways to abuse it. The intended use of the blue shot is to have a chargeable grenade, but the real reason everyone uses the blue shotgun firing mode is so that they can punch their own shotgun bullets. The green firing mode is supposed to cock the shotgun repeatedly to create a supercharged shotgun burst. However, it punishes you for overcharging it by making it explode. However, most people use the green firing mode to overcharge the shotgun, suicide bomb an enemy, and then dodge said suicide bombing. Last but best is the pistol. Original pistol is a pretty reliable, trusty tool. The first gun you ever get in the game, it's actually pretty good. But as you're making your way through the Purgatory level, you might notice a couple of weird slabs hidden around. Finding each one will unlock a special alternate version of the gun. This gun elevates the handgun from reliable to god tier. The first firing mode is a pocket railgun of a charge shot. The second one is my favorite alternate firing mode in the game, where you fling coins around for tracking shots. The coin shot actually makes you into such an avid gunslinger that I became better at other first-person shooters by proxy. I think one last thing to mention is that your arm has an alternate fire too. Currently you can choose between parrying projectiles and a pretty useful shotgun arm actually. It's a perfectly fine arm upgrade, but I prefer punching my own bullets, thank you very much. I keep saying it, but I'm very excited to see what the new guns and alt fires are going to be, because going off the coin thing, I am very excited to see how creative they can go with these. The last thing I should probably cover is the enemies and bosses, and by that I mean don't cover them, because the enemies, I doubt you want to hear a list of every single one you're going to encounter, and the bosses are like the best part of the game. I don't want to spoil them. Oh snap, I was about to wrap this video up, but then I remembered they had the Cyber Grind. Cyber Grind is a fully customizable nightmare chamber of a wave mode. The only downside is it looks like a perfect background gameplay generator for aspiring commentary channels. It does actually have a lot of genuine replay value. Trying to rack up a high score in it is genuinely addicting. Alright, I think that's everything, so I might want to give it the final verdict. Ultrakill was my favorite game of 2020, there is no contest. It sucked me in with the promise of a great time and kept me engaged the entire way through. I figured this would be the perfect game to start my game review career on. I figured this game would be great because I have a lot to say about it right now. And when the full thing comes out, I wanted to make another review on the full version, just to see how far I've come, editing-wise, comedy-wise, and writing-wise. For now though, it's a perfect score. I recommend picking up as soon as possible. It's only $20 on Steam, and you're already going to get probably triple your money's worth. For now though, I'll get going. Not into another hibernation fueled by lack of confidence and a desire to learn new editing tricks, but actually to make more videos for you guys. I've learned enough tricks behind the scenes and loosened up my schedule enough to shoot for once a month videos. And this will be the last video with an update schedule update, because I've seen my analytics, I know where people click off. Good night everybody.
My reputation for misogyny is legendary.